I am here with the head baseball coach at Michigan State University, Coach Jake Boss. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
I just want to ask you a few questions about the Michigan State baseball program, give young athletes an opportunity to learn a little bit more about being a Spartan.
Absolutely.
So first, we'll dive into a little bit about your background. How did you get your start in coaching?
Well, I got a degree in teaching, and so I taught high school English and social studies for a year and a half, and I was an assistant coach right out of college at Lakeview High School up by Big Rapids, and then I was a head coach at Weberville High School for 1 year, and then wanted to try to get into college baseball. So I moved out to Iowa, and I worked at Iowa Central Community College for 2 years. And back then we had graduate assistants, so I became a GA at Eastern Michigan and ended up getting a full-time assistant job there. So spent 7 years at Eastern. Went to Michigan for 3 as an assistant, back to Eastern for 1 as the head coach, and we were fortunate to win a championship there that year, and then the job opened up here, and I was just very blessed to get the job here, and going on year 15 now.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, the big thing about collegiate athletics, people think about the baseball side, but there's also a student athlete. From 2017 to 2021, you guys won the ABCA Team Academic Award. What does that mean to you as a coach?
Well, I think that's really important for us as a staff, especially. I mean, we place a priority on the academic piece of it. I think that my job here at Michigan State as a baseball coach is to prepare our guys for whatever's next. And hopefully for a lot of them, whatever's next is pro baseball. The numbers and the odds will dictate that that's not the case for the majority of our guys. And so, whatever's next is the job in the workforce, in the private sector, you name it. And so our job in preparing those guys for what's next is really, I think, to instill that kind of work ethic in the classroom. And the idea of taking care of your business off the field and how that translates to taking care of your business on the field as well. So it all kind of meshes together, but the academic piece for us is extremely important, and it always will be.
Absolutely. Now moving to the baseball side, touching on, obviously the goal for all baseball players is to play professional baseball. You've had several underneath you move on and sign professional baseball contracts via draft and signees. What do you attest that level of success to?
Well, I think, first of all, my assistants, Coach Sykes and Coach Vandermeet are tremendous. I mean, they do a great job of identifying talent. They do a great job of identifying guys that may fly a little bit under the radar, but are very, very projectable. They do really, really good job of vetting those guys out to, as far as, what their work ethic might be, what kind of a human being and a person are they, because, there are plenty of guys with all kinds of ability that, don't get a lot out of their ability because they don't work. And so I think our 2 assistants, those guys are tremendous. Obviously, the players have to put in the work, and they do that, and they buy in, and again, I think I've been fortunate to learn from some pretty good coaches in my time. I worked for Rich Maloney, I worked for Roger Coriel, and a guy by the name of Rick Sanquist, who are just outstanding coaches, and I've been able to learn from those guys. But the players are the ones that put the work in, and so it's it's a testament to them and how hard they work.
Correct. Now, if I'm a high school pitcher, my goal is to come to Michigan State. There's a lot of misinformation out there. Hey, you have to throw 90, 95. What do you guys look for, you and Coach Vandermeet look for in a pitcher?
Well, I think there's no real, it's not really set in stone, right? It's first of all, how projectable are you? How much better are you going to get? If we're talking athletic-wise, I think that's a big part of it. So if you have a body that's going to put on a bunch of weight, we think you're going to get bigger and stronger. That's a good place to start. We're looking at the arm stroke. Are you going to be able to stay healthy based on what your arm action looks like? What kind of a breaking ball do you have? What kind of secondary stuff do you have? And then can you get guys out? I think, again, there's plenty of guys that are 94 miles an hour that can't get anybody out, and there's plenty of guys that are throw 85 that can. And so getting guys out at this level. And so, getting high school hitters out, I think, is one thing. Very similar to in pro ball, getting college hitters out is one thing, but, a guy that can get a lot of college hitters out, does that mean it translates into pro ball? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And I think it's the same at our level, because you get a lot of high school hitters out. Sometimes it translates into this level, and sometimes it doesn't. So I think projectability, arm stroke, and secondary stuff are kind of the three big ones.
100%. 100%. Now, if I am a high school athlete, you often hear guys say, hey, you should specialize in one sport. Are you for guys playing multiple sports, or what is your take on 2-sport or 3-sport athletes?
100% for playing multiple sports, no question. I have a son that is in college now. He played, 3 sports in high school. I can tell you there is nothing, in my opinion, there's nothing like Friday night in the fall. I think the experience of that in and of itself is so valuable for a young student athlete. But it does a number of things too. I mean, if you're playing football and basketball, obviously, if you're playing football, you get into the weight room, and it gives your arm a break. You're not throwing you around. It puts you in different in different situations where you have to react according to whatever adversity that you have coming. Again, the experience of playing high school football, I think, is tremendous. Basketball, again, you got your wind up, you're in good shape, but I don't think you can replicate being on the free throw line with 5 seconds left, down 1. I mean, I think that all translates into onto the field here too. So from an injury prevention standpoint, I think it's tremendous, but from a maturity standpoint and an athletic, maybe intangible standpoint, we recruit a lot of point guards, we recruit a lot of high school quarterbacks, and there's a reason for that. I mean, those guys are the leaders, and that does carry over onto the baseball field.
100%. If I am a high school athlete or even a junior college athlete, I want to get on Coach Boss's radar. What avenues should I take?
Well, I think the biggest thing is we need to see you play. And so whatever it takes for us to get out and see you play. So send me a schedule, send me some video, send it to my assistant, send it to me directly. Come to camp. But that, whatever, again, the biggest thing is I need to see you play. Statistics are fine. But again, it's kind of like us in pro ball. A guy can hit, 340 at this level. It doesn't mean he's going to hit in pro ball. And, it's the same at going from the high school level to the college level. So, the statistics are great. They can tell a story. They can also be very misleading. And so, the biggest thing is, again, I have to see you play. So video is a good start. We try not to make many decisions off of video just because we try to be a little bit more thorough maybe than some. I think we go a little bit slower with recruiting process maybe than some, and that's by design. We try not to make many mistakes. We're obviously not perfect, but you try not to make a mistake in recruiting, because I don't want to have to run a guy off or tell him, that we don't have a spot for you because you're not what we thought you were.
Correct. Now at the Division I level, you have 11.7 scholarships. How much of a factor does academics factor into that, meaning their grades out of high school?
Big part of it. It's a big part of it. I mean, I think anything that helps a young student athlete keep that cost down, because school's not cheap.
Correct.
And so that can make that scholarship money go a little further. If we offer a guy, 50%, as an out-of-state kid, if he can get an extra $15,000 academically, that's roughly another 30%. So that takes a 50% offer and makes it really worth 80%. And so, that academic piece of it is very, very important.
Absolutely. Now here in the Big Ten, you guys have the 4-year scholarship. Could you touch on that? Because I know each conference is different, where some years are 1 year renewable. Can you touch on how the Big Ten does it?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think our philosophy in again, in our league and even here at Michigan State is, we kind of put the student athlete first, and the idea of, treating the student athlete the right way. And so, we honor those commitments. I do think it's the right thing to do. I think the landscape of college athletics is changing, and it could change within our conference as well. But again, I think when we talk to a recruit and we sit down with the recruit's parents, and again, having gone through it with two kids of my own now, two of my three, I want to know that my son or daughter is going to be taken care of and going to be looked after. And I think that's a big part of it. And so if I'm, I take my role very seriously, again, having kids that have gone through it and played collegiate athletics at a couple Division III schools. I need to feel comfortable turning my son or daughter over to a coach and just with the idea that, okay, you're going to take care of my kid for the next 4 years. And that's how we take our jobs here as a staff. And so, we're going to treat them right. We're going to do right by them. And there's a certain expectation, though, that we have that they need to uphold as well.
Correct. So, I'm a Spartan athlete. Can you take me into the day in the life of a Michigan State baseball player?
Sure. So in the fall, we lift 3 days a week in the mornings. We kind of scatter them out in the morning. The first group goes at 6:30. I think the second group goes at 8. The third group goes at 9:30, depending on class schedules. But you'll have a lift in the morning. You try to get your classes done by noon, and then extra work, is any time before 2:30. Practice starts at 2:30. So extra work is kind of on their own whenever they can make it. But we will meet as a team at 2:30 Monday through Friday. Practice will go for 3 hours Monday through Friday, and after practice, you go to the fueling station. You cool down, you hydrate. You eat something from our fueling station to kind of refuel. Then you go back and get some dinner, and then our freshmen have 8 hours of study table each week. So if they budget it out correctly, Monday through Thursday, 2 hours a night, they're in the academic center with a tutor or getting their study hours done. And then in the fall for us, we don't do anything usually on the weekends for a number of different reasons. Football games it's a great experience as a student athlete here. So I want them to experience that. We have recruits in on the weekends, and it's a time for those guys to maybe spend some time away from the field, see their family. I have a family, so, for me to see my family as well, my assistants. But it's a good way to recharge, I think, for those 2 days over the weekend. So, Monday through Friday, like I said, done with classes at noon. You're on the field till probably 5:30, 6 o'clock, and then you're in the Smith Center, and then hopefully by the end of the day, you're tired enough that you go to bed, and we do it all again the next day.
Absolutely. Well, Coach Boss, I want to thank you for your time. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule, and I know you have practice starting soon, so thanks a lot.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.